Open at the march. Right, rest.
Hey, Sapale, glove. Don't take this, don't take it. Don't take it. All MECs, MPLs and guests are requested to take their seats as per arrangement. The MEC for Community Safety, the Gauteng Provincial Commissioner and the Secretary for Legislature will now take their places in the podium. The Speaker, led by the aide camps, will now assume their position to await the arrival of the Gauteng Premier. The Premier will now ascend the podium while the fanfare is being played. Ladies and gentlemen, the General Salute will now be played and the Premier alone will acknowledge the salute.
Right. General Salute. Present arms. Right. Shoulder arms. Right. Order arms. Right. Stand at ease.
The Premier will now have the opportunity to inspect the Ceremonial Guard of Honor. The Premier, joined by the MEC for Community Safety and the Gauteng Provincial Commissioner, will inspect the Ceremonial Guard of Honor.
Right. Attention.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Mkhize. I'm the parade commander. The parade is ready for inspection, sir.
march past by the Guard of Honor, where the Premier will acknowledge the salute.
Right. Attention. Shoulder arms. Right. Close at the march. Right will move to the right in threes. Right turn. Right, by the left, quick march.
Hello. This guy. He's on top.
Guard of Honor, eyes right. Guard of Honor, eyes front. Come to the left. Come to your left, left. Come to your left.
The Premier and the entourage will now descend the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have come to the end of our program. I hope you will enjoy the proceedings of the day. I thank you.
Our turn now. Not speak. And apologetic.
the Speaker of the Gauteng Legislature, Honorable Ntombi Mrwetyana, with the Premier of Gauteng Province, Honorable David Makhura.
Thank you very much to the orchestra. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is a special sitting convened in terms of Rule 15 of the Standing Rules, which reads as follows. At the first sitting of the legislature each year, the Premier must deliver an address on the state of the province. Furthermore, in terms of Rule 15 subsection 2, which reads as follows. This is a special sitting solely designated to receive the state of the province address delivered by the Premier. Rule 18 subsection 3 reads as follows. The only business that may be conducted at a special sitting will be the business for which it has been designated. Let me indicate upfront that I, Linting Helen Mrwetyana, have declared Brixton Multipurpose Centre, City of Johannesburg, as the precinct at the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. It happened on Thursday, the 17th of February. This is in terms of Rule 56 of the Standing Rules of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, read with Section 2, Sub 2, and Section 28 of the Powers, Privileges, and Immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act number 4 of 2004, and since the 16th February until the 22nd of February, thus the standing rules of the legislature are applicable and govern all the preparations and engagements of the State of the Province address. The precincts of Parliament is the area of land and every building or part of a building under Parliament's control, including the chambers in which the proceedings of the houses are conducted and the galleries and lobbies of the chambers. Every part of the buildings in which the chambers are situated and every forecourt, yard, garden, enclosure or open space appertinent thereto, committee rooms and other meeting places provided or used primarily for the Parliament's purposes, and every other building or part of a building provided or used in connection with the proceedings of Parliament while so used. Ladies and gentlemen, in case of an emergency or on hearing an emergency alarm, please note the following. The Venue Operational Center will issue a directive to evacuate the building listen carefully to the public address system. The protocol officers and the service officers, evacuation warden, will assist honorable members and guests to evacuate the hall. In the House, service officers will help members to evacuate the building through the nearest exit. The evacuation routes for the main buildings are one at the back of the hall, one behind the stage, and the main entrance. And the assembly point will be the sport ground behind the hall. Let me, at this honor, introduce our choir, the Chamber Orchestra of Johannesburg, featuring the real ones and the South African Police Service Choir, who will be leading us in singing the national anthems in terms of Rule 8, subsection 1B, which reads as follows. The national anthem must be performed at the beginning of the opening and closing of the legislature each year. So we'll sing both the national anthem of South Africa, but also the African Union anthem. We have circulated, because we normally receive challenges wherein when we sing the AU anthem, people might not know it by now. Can we start with the national anthem? I hope all those that are able to stand will be standing at this juncture. Over to the Chamber of Orchestra. African Union anthem.
Let us
Thank you very much. You may all be seated. Let me take this opportunity to welcome our Honorable Premier, members of the Executive Council, the Chief Whip, leaders of political parties present, members of the Provincial Legislature, the Speaker of the Western Cape Province, Honorable Ngasela, speakers from municipalities in Gauteng, speakers from other provinces of South Africa, delegates of the National Parliament and National Council of Provinces, delegates of the Pan-African Parliament, former members of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, High Commissioners, Ambassadors, Diplomatic Corps, former speakers, deputy speakers of the Gauteng Legislature, veterans and freedom stalwarts, the judicial institutions, secretaries of provincial legislature and the secretary of the National Council of Provinces, the leaders of the faith-based organizations, executive mayors of all municipalities in Gauteng, the chief whips of municipal council and councillors present, the South African Local Government Association, the guest of the Premier, the guest of the Speaker, the guest of the Deputy Speaker, the guest of the Chair of Chairs, the guest of the Deputy Chairperson of Committees, the guest of the Secretary, former Premiers, leaders of the Services Board and its committees, municipal managers and MMCs of the host region, which is the city of Joburg, all strategic corporate partners present, Chapter 9 and 10 institutions, the creative industry and sport, women in business, the LGBTIQ+ community, older persons present, organizations for people with disabilities, DGs and HODs of departments, all representatives of the business sector, the organized labor, leaders and guests of political parties, traditional leaders, religious leaders and members of various faiths, youth organizations, the academia, NGO, the AIDS Council, media, and all other guests, we are all welcome. Let me also, in the meantime, apologize if I did not mention your name or your organization. It's because I have not received the script properly, but I can only acknowledge everyone present. I have also seen the Deputy Minister. Thank you very much for attending our sitting this morning. I will now suspend the sitting for 3 minutes in order to allow the media to take photos of the chamber in session. You only have 3 minutes. Yeah, Thank you very much. We may now leave. Can I ask members of the media to leave the chamber? Cameras, can you please leave the chamber? Thank you very much. I am now going to request that we should all stand up to observe a moment of silent prayer and meditation. Thank you. We may be seated. Let me acknowledge the chairperson of the NCOP, Honorable Masondo, leading the delegation. The orchestra, before they leave, let me also acknowledge you, but also indicate that we are very much thankful for the enthusiasm that you put in us in the morning. And the orchestra is constituted by the red ones and the subs choir. So you can see that in the South African Police Service, we don't only shoot, but we can also sing so well. We are all welcome. Yeah, you can clap hands, colleagues. I now going to call on our Premier, Honorable David Makhura, to come and address the House. But while he does so, I will also call upon the Imbongi to lead the Premier.
Now my speech is my speech has disappeared, Honorable Member. It has disappeared. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Ntombi Linting Mihwe, the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Nomvuyo Mhlakaza Manamela, the Chief Whip, Honorable Mzi Kumalo, members of our Executive Council, members of the distinguished legislature of our province, and leaders of political parties, executive mayors of our municipalities in Gauteng, including our host mayor, executive mayor, Mpho Phalatse, Your Excellencies, members of the diplomatic community, distinguished guests, members of the media, the people of our province. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving us the opportunity to deliver the 10th State of the Province address of the 6th Premier of our province. And in this address, which is a landmark as it takes place 8 years since I took office in this province, and immediately after the midterm of the 6th administration, we will keep referring on those things that we have been able to achieve in the pre-pandemic period, the work we have done during the pandemic, and the impact of the pandemic, particularly on the quality of life of our people. Accordingly, we will also highlight the democratic gains and the socio-economic progress that has been made in our country. And where there have been reversals, we will highlight those reversals. It is important that our SOPA takes place almost 2 years into the pandemic that has created a huge negative impact and threatened the existence of humanity. Humanity has been battling the public health emergency caused by the outbreak of COVID-19. It is not just for us that winning the battle against COVID was the immediate priority. It was for all governments that matter to do so, for business, for civil society, and indeed for the whole of society, that the COVID-19 pandemic was declared a priority. So as we meet here today, Madam Speaker, I'm glad to say that COVID-19 pandemic is under control due largely to the massive vaccination program that has been undertaken both in our country and elsewhere in the world. And that vaccination program has significantly broken the chain between infections, hospital admissions, and death. In other words, although many people continue to be infected by SARS-CoV-2, the evidence shows that most of those who are vaccinated are more protected from progressing to severe disease and death. We have also worked together with the public and the private sector to vaccinate more than 5.3 million people in our province, having administered 8.6 million vaccines. These 5.3 million individuals are much more secure today than ever before. Honorable members, please join me in conveying our heartfelt gratitude to our healthcare professionals, both in the public and the private sector, for their outstanding service. The healthcare workers in the public and the private sector have performed an outstanding service to the people of this province in the most difficult time in the life of our democratic nation. We need to remind ourselves that SARS-CoV-2, that is coronavirus, is still out there infecting people and reinfecting people. We also know now that armed with vaccines, masks, hand sanitizers, better ventilated environments, continuing with physical distancing and greater levels of vigilance, we are indeed winning the battle against COVID-19, particularly because it is more contained. And scientists are saying it could soon become just endemic, moving from a pandemic to just being endemic. In this context, honorable members, we are boldly shifting our main focus and principal energy to tackle the unemployment through economic recovery and reconstruction. And it is this unemployment which has become critically something that requires an emergency response, and the kind of response that we gave to COVID-19. After so much death and so much destruction with regard to lives and livelihoods, it is time to rebuild, and we must do so with the greatest sense of urgency, with the greatest sense of single-mindedness and coordination demonstrated during our emergency response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Honorable members, in a different period in this House in 2018, I quoted from a book of Ben Okri, A Time for New Dreams. Today, I cannot resist to go back to the powerful words of this greatest son of the soil and the scholar of our continent, because he captures, in a sense, where we are and the kind of spirit we need to rebuild our country and our province. And Ben Okri says about the time we are in. The Enid reminds us that greatest civilizations can be built on great failures. It is also reminding us that adversity is not the end of the story, but where there is courage and vision, the beginning of a new one, a greater one for that matter. Difficult times do one or two things to us. They either break us or they force us to go back to the primal ground of our very being. Adversity wakes us up. It reminds us not of who we think we are in vanity, but who we are in our simplicity. It is in difficult times that the great times ahead are dreamt and built brick by brick with maturity and the hope that comes from wise action. Honorable members, we have lost many lives and many livelihoods destroyed since the advent of COVID-19 on our shores in March 2020. Even with the scale of the adversity we have faced and some of our clear failures to respond adequately, we swear and we vow that these difficult times shall not break us. We shall rebuild and renew and move forward. As we steadily work our way out of the shadow of the COVID-19 pandemic, we will do so with urgency and act with the greatest sense of an emergency that we face. We will act with agility because unemployment has become a crisis. We have to rebuild and protect our infrastructure. The state of our infrastructure, the dysfunctional state of our infrastructure, and therefore our inability to deliver basic services to our communities constitutes itself an emergency. The increasing levels of crime and the sense of insecurity amongst our people requires an emergency response. Corruption requires us to respond in that same emergency mode we did during the fight against COVID-19. So, Madam Speaker, in this State of the Province address, it's all hand on deck as we move forward. And we have titled this State of the Province address from the public health emergency to the economic and service delivery emergency. And in so doing, we are also speaking to the leaders in local government. The way we work together during COVID-19 is the same way we must work together in response to these other emergencies that we outline in this speech. We have learned many lessons in our battle against COVID-19. These lessons include social mobilization and social compacting, promptly and decisively acting against crime, including taking action against corruption, interdepartmental and intergovernmental collaboration and cooperation to break silos. So as we make the economy and jobs the center stage and the number one priority in the next 2 years, we will also work closely with national government, our municipalities to accelerate service delivery and focus on improving infrastructure, as I said. This includes access to housing. We saw during COVID-19 that there are certain interventions we can make to respond to the crisis of homelessness. Access to energy and electricity. We have a huge crisis. Many of our communities that gained access to electricity are facing an erosion of that as they are getting switched off and there's load shedding all over again. Access to clean water, access to sanitation, road maintenance, visible policing, quality education, and quality healthcare. I want to repeat that we have a serious crisis of underinvestment and poor maintenance of infrastructure, which requires an emergency response. We also have a serious crisis of vandalization of our infrastructure. We will give more details of how we are going to respond to this situation as we move through this State of the Province address. So starting with the economy, it is important that we understand that our province has come a very long way. We have particularly come along a positive trajectory of doubling the size of the economy of our province. We know the persistent problem of unemployment and the exclusion of the majority of the people from the mainstream of our economy. That notwithstanding, all surveys and research, particularly those done by the Gauteng City Observatory since 2011, have shown that Gauteng Province was on a continuous investment and real improvements in the quality of life of our people. Even in the smallest municipality, the positive trajectory of investing in infrastructure and providing basic services. There was a period in our province before 2019 where most of our municipalities were doing well. Report after report from the Quality of Life survey done by the Gauteng City region showed how municipalities were performing on various areas of basic services and various departments of our province. Those reports were showing that in the entire pre-pandemic period, we were on the up. Yes, there are persistent problems, and some of them have become much more prominent since 2019. For example, between 2015 and 2020, the economic output of Africa, which was dominated by 3 countries, which is Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa, had at the back of that the significant role played by the Gauteng economy as the industrial hub of sub-Saharan Africa. We know for a fact that up to 2020, Gauteng was the 7th largest economy in our continent, constituting 35% of the GDP of South Africa. As I say, even in the most difficult time as we tackle these other problems, we must always remember that Gauteng remains the key player in our national economy and the critical contributor to the continental economy. With our Growing Gauteng Together, GGT 2030, which is our provincial plan, we want to cement our position both in our country and in our continent by doubling the size of our economy. Of course, it's not enough just to have GDP growth. We also want to double the number of people employed in the Gauteng economy. We want to increase exports, particularly into the continent. We want to drastically reduce poverty and promote economic empowerment of those previously excluded. GGT 2030 outlines each of those areas. And in today's State of the Province address, I will give indications of how we have been working, and we are working particularly with the private sector to make interventions in sectors and in specific corridors of our province. GGT 2030 prioritizes the transformation, modernization, and reindustrialization of the 10 high-growth sectors of our economy, which have been outlined in several State of the Province addresses. It also prioritizes the building of special economic zones in all the 5 corridors of our province. GGT 2030 prioritizes the economic transformation and revitalization of our townships. learning from our COVID response and appreciating the current challenges we face, increased levels of unemployment. Unemployment is at its worst at the moment, and that youth unemployment constitutes particularly a serious crisis and emergency. We would like to report that we have established the following interventions. Firstly, we have established the Provincial War Room, which brings together government and industry leaders in Gauteng Province to drive economic recovery, unlock growth in every sector, and create sustainable jobs, as well as supporting the growth of SMMEs. The Provincial War Room we are talking about is bringing together, as we said, business and government to focus on critical interventions and a program of action, not just a talk shop, a program of action in each area, allocating specific responsibilities to sectors, to government, including our municipalities, those who are leading the economic development in our municipalities. We are doing so with a strong sense, honorable members, that we need deliberate action to support all efforts, direct all efforts at creating jobs, both in the private sector. Yes, the private sector has the greatest possibility and potential to create more jobs, but to also unleash the capacity of our public sector programs and government programs that are job-creating programs. We are doing so also by focusing on the inclusion of youth and women in these programs. We are opening up value chains. Now, this is the first time we give a bit of greater detail on what we are doing in each sector. We are opening up value chains. We are building competitive local content in there. We are bringing in local content in there. We are also promoting the development of commercially viable enterprises, supplier development, SMME growth, and township enterprises. The War Room has now initiated quarterly sector action labs with industry representatives, focusing on problem solving and social compacting. We are working in partnership with the Private Public Growth Initiative, which is the facilitating initiative for this work, and we are now bringing organized labor into that work. We will also be bringing each of the state-owned enterprises and relevant national departments that are doing work in our economy to reignite growth in the Gauteng economy. Honorable members, such is the nature and scale of the economic and other challenges we are confronting that we can't sit somewhere as government alone and talk and think that we will go and meet with business and business sits alone and also talks, including trade unions in our province. They can't sit alone and just defend the jobs of existing workers. We know that's the role and the task of trade unions. We need to open more opportunities, particularly in new sectors of our economy. So this mode of operation we are referring to is what we mean by acting with a sense of emergency and acting in the way that we have dealt with COVID-19. During the State of the Nation address, President Ramaphosa announced, and I quote, "We have given ourselves 100 days to finalize the comprehensive social compact to grow our economy, create jobs, and combat hunger." The commitment by the President to the social compact is what we in Gauteng are exactly doing. We are instrumentalizing this. We are unlocking growth through leveraging the strength of different players. Governments have its own strength, and sometimes it can become an obstacle. And the private sector also has its own strength. We want to harness the talents, the energies, and capabilities of these various sectors to focus on these critical sectors of the Gauteng economy. And indeed, the principal outcome of all our efforts, firstly, is employment. Secondly is empowerment and increasing exports so that we can have prosperity for all in our province. So the work we have been doing with various sectors is what I would like to focus on now. We are doing work with the ICT and digital services sector, and this work draws in experts, policymakers, and business people from across the digital economy landscape to support the implementation of the 4IR strategy of our province. It includes the work that's being done by ECAC Labs. It also includes the work on the township cloud zones, hot desking hubs, and this will be optimal sites for new data centers and big investments in communication technologies. This we do in all the 5 critical corridors of our province, including taking some of these initiatives right into the townships. The provincial government has just partnered with the University of Johannesburg to turn the province's mounting e-waste problem. And what is e-waste? That is the disposal of electrical appliances and electronic gadgets, which has become a very big problem for the economy of our province. And to turn this e-waste into an opportunity whilst at the same time protecting the environment. This partnership between the University of Johannesburg and our Department of E-Government is offering an opportunity for young people in particular who are inspired and trained to look at how to recycle e-waste and create meaningful new products from discarded services and appliances. I've had an opportunity to look at some of this in the programs that are run by our Department of E-Government. How young people are turning e-waste into some of the meaningful products that can still be recycled and reused in our economy. Secondly, we are working with the aviation industry and the tourism and hospitality sector here in Gauteng to build Gauteng Air Access Partnership, which will attract more passenger and cargo airlines to operate at OR Tambo International Airport, as well as Lanseria Airport. We have been busy through the COVID period, engaging particularly through AXA and some of the airline companies to make sure that OR Tambo and Lanseria Airport become more competitive in attracting some of the major airlines, particularly for cargo and the growth of the passenger opportunities for the growth of the passenger airlines in our province. Due to the impact of COVID-19 on both the aviation industry and the hotel and restaurant subsector, much work is being done together with these sectors to promote recovery and unleash the huge employment potential in the Gauteng province, including on issues of the unique tourism opportunities offered by our economy. This is one sector through which we are doing work. In the food, beverages, and agro-processing, as well as agribusiness sector, we are working with the industry players and organized farmers in partnership with the Agricultural Development Agency to ensure that food security in Gauteng is addressed and to promote urban agriculture as a sector for huge employment and business opportunities. In the previous State of the Province address, I did say Gauteng has not paid attention to agriculture. Now we are sitting together with these various industry players to unlock the opportunities for this sector, especially to bring in women in urban agriculture and young people for smart agriculture. In the past 12 months, we've also been interacting extensively with the cannabis industry role players, and I have identified unique opportunities of this sector in Gauteng Province. This year, honorable members, last year I said this sector has opportunities. We must work with the industry players and the regulators to unlock those opportunities. Now we have done work to look at what opportunities there are. You must come with me I'll take you to where all these sectors are located and demonstrate to you what the cannabis industry is doing in this province. There are many cannabis growers in Gauteng. There are also those who are not just growing, they are already processing. They are already processing medicinal cannabis. If you don't know, please come with me. I will show you, including those who are already producing medicinal cannabis products and retailing those medicinal cannabis products right here in Gauteng, right here in Gauteng. So the biggest challenge, honorable members, this sector, the sector leaders are saying,
Honorable members,
the sector leaders are saying to me,
excuse me, Premier.
honorable members,
Honorable Mukwebo, heckling is allowed, but Honorable Mukwebo,
I don't want you to go
hacking
and smoke
is
there.
allowed.
It's for medicinal purposes. So what is the critical issue being raised by this sector, honorable members? So this sector is saying the biggest obstacle they are facing is issues of regulation and licensing. They obtaining licenses, particularly from the regulator, who's SOPA. Black participants and those who want to grow cannabis are saying the biggest problem for them is access to land and access to financing. But there are many young people I have met in this sector who are waiting for the opportunity, who want us to work with them to sort out licensing and make land available and financing available for them to participate in this sector. So going forward, this is what we will do. We have decided to establish a dedicated unit in the provincial government. It will be located in our Department of GDAT, Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. That unit will be dedicated, established there to work with the cannabis industry and national government to focus on unlocking these issues of licensing, attracting particularly huge foreign and domestic investment into the unique opportunities of the sector in Gauteng and facilitating black and particularly youth participation in this sector. We will give further feedback on all the other sectoral work that is being done, and that work includes the work we are doing with the creative and cultural industries, freight and logistics sector, and the engagements we have had with the freight and logistics sector, the finance sector, construction and infrastructure sector done by our infrastructure departments, and those relevant MECs who are leading this work themselves are consolidating that work back into the war room. So the story of the establishment of the provincial war room is not just an idea, it is hard at work. And these are the preliminary results of the work of the Gauteng Provincial War Room on the economy and jobs, which is doing this work. Honorable members, in addition to the sectors we have identified and the sectors we are working in, we have said since 2014, we have been championing the development of the township economy and the transformation of the economic geography of our province and the demographics of various sectors of our province. And we have said we must do so, and we are doing so in order to ensure that all sectors of our economy participate meaningfully in every sector, and the Gauteng economy cannot be located at one main municipality. Your Worship, the Mayor of Johannesburg, we want to decentralize this economy. We want to make sure that different parts of our province have growth opportunities so that Johannesburg doesn't carry the burden, not only the metros as well carry the burden. We want the West Rand and Sidibeng to also be growth points. So that has been our approach to economic development. But we also want physically and geographically, people must not leave the townships to go and look for work. There should also be location of businesses in those townships, and jobs must be created in the townships. So for that reason, we have been the champion also of the Township Economic Development Bill. We have been the champion of Township Economic Revitalization. So, honorable members, those of you who may have not been here should be reminded that between 2014 and 2019, the Gauteng Provincial Government supported township businesses extensively through public procurement policy to the value of more than 20 billion rands in buying goods and services from those township businesses. We are going to continue to do so with a greater sense of agency and in an emergency mode to support these businesses. In thinking about supporting the township businesses, we have also focused on supporting businesses owned by women, and to this effect, with 5.6 billion rands in Gauteng as I speak, over the period from 2014, 5.6 billion rand has been spent on businesses owned by women. The same applies to young people. 5.3 billion rand spent on businesses owned by young people. And with regard to people with disability, just 470 million rand. I know this is not enough. We've got 2% of Gauteng population are people with disability. Supplier development has been an important area of action. We have worked with more than 3,100 township businesses and township suppliers. We know very well that in the townships at the moment, and township businesses are waiting for one thing: the passing of the Township Economic Development Act. And, honorable members, this is in the hands of this legislature. I know, Madam Speaker, that the legislature public hearings are still underway, and our executive keenly awaits the legislature to pass this law so that I can assent. We keenly await the passing of this law so that I can assent. I want to repeat that the Township Economy Bill is about helping us to create new development regulations and do away with all those bylaws. We involved our municipalities in this. Many old bylaws that make it difficult for businesses to be established and to operate and to grow, including informal businesses. This is a new smart regulatory and supportive regime that this legislature must pass to ensure that we also formalize 90% of those businesses that are informal, that want to formalize, to enable them to really grow and get financial support. Secondly, this bill is going to also formalize the establishment of the Township Economy Fund. So the Township Economy Fund, as I speak, has grown to over half a billion rands. In one of our war rooms, there are further discussions. We are bringing in more partners. It will grow to 800 million rands this year, the Township Economy Fund. So as soon as you pass the Township Economy Bill, the Township Economy Fund is available, is ready to support all the growth of these township businesses. So, honorable members, we really want to also create through this bill a legal framework that will enable the provincial government to support what's called township real estate. Often what is called the back rooms, where there's rent, lots of people are renting. Those back rooms, where lots of people are renting, the formalization of that process, that these are income generating opportunities for most of the people in the township. So their formalization that it's not illegal to have a back room and have people renting. because it is supporting livelihoods and incomes. But often mayors will know, often these back rooms are overloading our infrastructure. They are not connected properly to sewer. They are not connected properly to electricity. Some of them are also not being built properly because they often all pay to the main house. And that's where we have many problems of the growth of the debt in our municipalities. This formalization will include turning the taxi industry ranks into business hubs and turning many of our township commercial nodes into high streets. This is part of what the township bill is meant to do. So the people in our townships have given us feedback that they really want the township economy bill to be passed now and this year. I have been saying last year it will be passed. It must be passed by this house. And they are all echoing in the public hearings. And if you are not in the public hearings, it's your problem. Honorable Mpapa will tell you, they all are saying that they want the opportunities to go to the local residents of our townships. That's what they are saying. They're saying these opportunities of the bill must not go elsewhere. They must not be hijacked. They must go to local residents of our townships to rebuild businesses in our communities. They've been echoing this with a great deal of urgency. I want to also say to you, we are already disbursing 100 million rands to support the recovery and the rebuilding of township businesses affected by the July unrest and the COVID-19 pandemic. And we are already working with the IDC in disbursing this 100 million rands. We have ongoing work, honorable members, that tells us that although many businesses collapsed in our townships and many businesses faced serious challenges, some disappeared, but there are businesses that have survived. There are township businesses that have survived. There are township businesses that are continuing to operate, telling us inspiring stories of how they want to build back, how they want to grow, and how they want to overcome any future pandemic. In the past year alone, we have worked with 56 township businesses which are successfully incubated in the provincial government ECAC labs. These 56 township businesses are successfully incubated in the provincial government ECAC labs. One of the stories of this ECAC labs is the Tembisa ECAC lab, Honorable Lesufi, where we have incubated some businesses there. In the Tembisa ECAC lab, there's Pumzile Mtembu, who had been unemployed for years. She's a proud owner of Ingweti Pty Limited. This is the first baby skin care brand from Tembisa in Ekurhuleni, which is trading as QB Baby Care. Made in the township, made in Tembisa. So, honorable members, so we're telling you about the 56 companies that are incubated. We're also doing ongoing work beyond the 56 companies. We are doing work with the township enterprises where we are making progress in the special economic zones. In the previous State of the Province address, I have reported extensively on the rollout of SEZ. I just want to do an update. Firstly, with the construction of the Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone, which was built in the midst of COVID-19. This is a special economic zone built in the shortest time in South Africa in the midst of a pandemic. That Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone is progressing very well, honorable members. And this year, it will produce the first new Ford Ranger in June this year, the first new Ford Ranger made in South Africa, made right there in Tshwane in the Automotive Special Economic Zone. I want to give you an update, honorable members, that if you visit the Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone, and there are people who don't know where it is, they'll ask where. There are 12 companies there. There are 12 component manufacturers who are working with the OEM. That's the original equipment manufacturer called Ford. They are already working as I speak. Many of them are already manufacturing whilst work of construction is going on in that special economic zone. There is a great sense of emergency when you get there. You can see, even as they complete construction work, others are already manufacturing. That's the sense of emergency, the emergency mode we need, which is being demonstrated in the Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone. I also last year made a commitment, honorable members, that there will be 28,000 jobs, and we have exceeded that target as I report now. The new jobs created between the last SOPA and now, our target was 3,228. We have 3,440 jobs that have been created in that. In the last SOPA, I reported that R500 million in that SEZ has been spent on the township businesses, has been spent on supporting township businesses. I am very happy to say R1 billion has now been spent on supporting SMMEs and township businesses. So that amount has doubled in the period. And honorable members, I want to tell you a story. In the Tshwane SEZ, there are no disruption of projects. There's no stoppage of projects there. The township enterprises and the SMMEs there and the communities involved in defending the development and the project construction going very well there. Let's give the people of Mamelodi a big round of applause. Anyone who tries to go and disrupt that project, it is the community and the people there who are protecting it. And thumbs up to the community of Mamelodi. So, honorable members, it's all systems go in the Tshwane Automotive SEZ. It's the best example. It's the best example of how to build an SEZ. It's the best example of how to collaborate with the community. It's the best example of how small business, women, youth, and township businesses can participate in the value chain of a big investment of $1 billion by Ford Automotive Company in South Africa. So we want to carry this lesson to the other SEZs. So I want to move to an update on the Vaal River SEZ. So last year, the people of the Vaal, last year we gave you a report of the work we were doing. We reported to this legislature. I have an update for you. In October last year, in the midst of COVID-19, we convened a conference, an investment conference in Sidibeng, and at that investment conference, we had not foreign investors, we had businesses, South African businesses. Of course, there are others that came later, but most of those are South African businesses that made a commitment of 45 billion rand to invest in the Vaal River SEZ. Those businesses said they are ready. All they want is construction work to begin in the Vaal River SEZ. So the Vaal River SEZ will host the new Vaal River City, the Green Hydrogen Innovation Hub, the Cannabis Hub, and someone who wants to see the Cannabis Hub in the Vaal River, in the Vaal, come with me. As long as you promise me you don't want to smoke, you want help for medicinal use. agro-logistics and erythropolis, the aerodrome, the air freight, and the revitalized steel industry. So we said last year that the Vaal River SEZ company has already been registered. A PMO has been established. There's a project manager of the Vaal River SEZ. I can also update you that the 4 municipalities in the Vaal, the district municipality and all the local municipalities, all of them, and I want to say all of them, they have put on the table land of more than 7,000 hectares. And they brought the land because to develop a massive industrial zone, you do need land. So I really say, I say thumbs up to the municipalities in the Vaal. They are run by different parties. They are run by different parties. They have cooperated, they are collaborating with us. They've brought land on the table to say, we are ready to work with you. So going forward, the critical issue in the Vaal River SEZ is to move now to unlock bulk infrastructure. We have a commitment from the DBSA to invest in bulk infrastructure up to R1 billion in that area. So we are working hard and fast in the Vaal with the Vaal municipalities to unlock this 45 billion rands. These are not fairy tales. The investors are real people. The money is real. The municipalities are real leaders who are committed to real development. So the new update about the West Rand, we reported about the West Rand agro-processing hub, the development of that. We are glad to say that there's been an additional, just between the last SOPA and now, an additional 20 billion rand splashed to Maximum Group and a number of companies to help with the development of agri-processing and industrial development in the Vaal. And some of those who are involved in that development is AfriBees, they are here, and Maximum Group, they are here. These are real business people. They are saying to us, even if government, you are still delayed on other things, we are already on the ground. It includes Basmark. Basmark is expanding its operations, its factory, which is in Randfontein, to relocate it next to N12. Basmark also is ready to expand its factory there. And the mining houses are ready to work with us on unlocking green hydrogen and also growing urban agriculture in that special economic zone. Honorable members, that is the West Rand. The President has spoken extensively. The President has spoken extensively about the Lanseria Smart City. So what is the latest report? We are working with the city of Johannesburg, Mogale City, and let me say to you, it doesn't matter who governs those municipalities. We work as government, not parties. We work as government to unlock this development. It doesn't matter in Gauteng which party governs which municipality. The key thing is that we elected by our people in municipalities and in the province and national must work together. So we are working together with Johannesburg. We are working together with Mogale City. We are also, Tshwane is the latest because only a small portion of Lanseria is in Tshwane. We have now appointed a PMO there, but the critical challenge on the Lanseria is the following, honorable members, is the consolidation of land. We have a huge investment awaiting this unlocking of this land, a huge investment, a high-tech type of investment in that area. So in the Lanseria area, the big problem, unlike in the Vaal, we said to you, the municipalities brought the land. That's why we can just immediately do bulk. In Lanseria, what is the big problem? The land, there's no government land in that area. Of course, all the landowners have been engaging with the different government departments, and it is absolutely important that this year we move. Because again, what is the critical? The DBSA is also ready. The DBSA as an implementing agent is also ready to roll out bulk, and I am awaiting the announcement by the Minister of Finance about some of the assistance provinces are going to get on bulk investments to unlock growth. I'm awaiting that announcement. And we are looking forward to moving this year. Of course, I say, in that, with the Lanseria Smart City, the critical issue is unlocking the land. The investment on bulk is readily available. So, honorable members, we are also working with the Global Business Services on the Global Businesses Special Development Zone. It may not be an SEZ historically as it was, and with the people who are owning Nasrec, we have huge investment there in Nasrec done for the 2010 World Cup. That is ICT infrastructure that is sitting there in Nasrec, is awaiting the Global Business Services moving into that area and locating there to develop a new global business services hub around that area. So, honorable members, when we come here and report and saying we are working on the SEZs, we are working in that area, it is not just work and no progress. It is real work and interventions in this regard. We are also focusing on infrastructure investment. One of the key things about infrastructure investment is that in all the economic interventions, you do need bulk infrastructure. I've already said that. You also need other type of infrastructure to enable businesses to operate there, including a broadband infrastructure, some of it through in private sector investment, and others through our own GBN network expansion in those areas. And the aim of infrastructure investment is about creating employment, but also enhancing the delivery of basic services, including access to housing, schools, health facilities, roads, electricity, as well as water and sanitation. Infrastructure investment has generated huge opportunities for our economy, and between 2014 and 2019, we invested 53 billion rands in infrastructure. In the pre-pandemic period, creating 120,000 jobs in that pre-pandemic period, just through active state intervention to drive infrastructure investment. We were able to unlock 120,000 jobs in the 5-year period through infrastructure investment. Honorable members, I also want to report to you that since 2019, our social sector and infrastructure sector have also created jobs. The social sector has created 15,152,000 jobs. The infrastructure sector has created, together they have created 22,000 jobs. Gauteng municipalities, also through their own social and infrastructure and environmental programs, have created, I exclude here EPWP, but those other programs have also created more than 10,000 jobs. So, honorable members, we are pushing employment creation through the provincial war room, but we are also pushing job creation through infrastructure investment in our various sectors. We are expanding broadband access. We are expanding broadband access, the details of which you will get, ensuring that this will support our economic development and industrial zones. We are also hugely investing in skills training for young people, particularly in digital skills, including giving opportunities to emerging digital entrepreneurs in our province. And this is the most detailed report we are presenting to you. Some of the details I am going to move beyond some of those details. So, honorable members, we committed that we will rehabilitate 18 arterial roads. In this report, I am giving details of the work and the specific roads that we have been working on in this report. I'm not going to take you through all the roads in detail. We made a commitment of the 18 roads. We are reporting road by road, area by area, including where some of the roads are bedeviled by the stoppage of projects or delays that are as a result of inefficiencies in government. If you say which road the state of the province address has got them, I know, come with me, because P158, that's N14 phase 2, P158. It will not help you to do this. So, honorable members, our road program is also unlocking economic opportunities in different parts of our province. We are also ensuring that all our investments in other infrastructure programs, such as human settlements infrastructure, the GBN rollout, also lead to the empowerment of those who are previously advantaged. And the details of that you will get in the speech, as we have done a very detailed speech for you. So, honorable members, I want to say the most disturbing thing with our infrastructure projects, again, is the stopping of projects. It is worse in Tshwane. The stopping of projects is the biggest problem. But I am glad that the South African Police Service, led by Provincial Commissioner Lieutenant General Mawela, and his team of detectives have been arresting and making sure that this infrastructure criminal network is brought to book in our province. They are causing serious damage. They are stopping our infrastructure projects. They are scaring businesses which are operating in different areas. So it is absolutely important that we appreciate the work that our police officers are doing in this regard. The other key problem with our infrastructure projects, honorable members, is delivery on time and at cost. Our infrastructure projects, big problem, delivery on time and at cost. For that reason, we have now established an infrastructure war room that will also bring business players who are leading different infrastructure projects, and the police and our different implementing agencies, including the Department of Infrastructure Development. They are going to be brought in there at the hub to deal with every aspect of infrastructure. Delivery on time, delivery at cost, dealing with the problem of stoppage of infrastructure projects. Honorable members, I will come back to the infrastructure story when I deal with some of our infrastructure department's concrete deliverables. I want to focus now on the fundamental question of the crisis of youth unemployment. The crisis of youth unemployment is something that requires an emergency response. The future is youth, and young people are the future. The future is youth, and young people are the future. The level of unemployment amongst the youth has reached unprecedented proportions. So, for that reason, I want to first say that the Gauteng Provincial Government has introduced many youth development initiatives in the pre-pandemic period between 1994 and 2014. And in 2014, we moved that process to the next level by introducing the SOPA program, which started as 500,000, and then it became SOPA 1 million. I want to give you irrefutable data and evidence of what this program has done. Between 2014 and 2016, the initial phase of the TSEPO 500 program was able to give opportunities through training, through entrepreneurship opportunities, but also bringing into the labor market our young people, a total number of which at that time was 211. 211,000 young people in the first phase of that program. So that was the first phase of the TSEPO program. In the second phase of the program, between 2017 and 2021, the program was upgraded into TSEPO 1 million, working with Harambee Youth Accelerator, and we have been able to listen carefully. In the second phase of the program, we have been able to impact on young people through the different pillars of this program by opening labor market opportunities, in other words, access to jobs, training, demand-led training opportunities, and some of them including getting them entrepreneurship opportunities. So in the second phase, we were able to reach 718,000 young people across Gauteng Province. In the second phase. Now, if you add 211 and 718, you can see we are approaching 1 million in terms of the impact on young people. So for this reason, we don't want to talk about TSEPO 1 million anymore. We just want to talk about TSEPO. We just want to talk about TSEPO. We have been able, through this program, 60% of the beneficiaries are young people. Now, let me tell you an important story. The President of the Republic of South Africa, President Ramaphosa, established the presidential program called Yes for Youth. Learning, drawing lessons from what we were able to achieve through the years of TSEPO 1 million. It's now a national program, and important lessons are being drawn from there. I also want to say to you, Mapungubwe Institute of Strategic Reflection, MISTRA, is undertaking independent evaluation of TSEPO 1 million right now. They are undertaking an independent evaluation. Their preliminary assessment is, if there was no TSEPO 1 million, the situation of youth in Gauteng would have been worse. If there was no intervention by this program, the situation would have been worse. So this report will be published. So those who continue to say or think that we will abandon this program, we are rebooting it, we are upgrading it, but we are also doing other things. There's many departments in Gauteng that are doing other youth initiatives. For example, I can report to you that 48,177 young people in Gauteng were given work opportunities by provincial government departments across the province, particularly in the infrastructure and social sector. This has happened in this province even in the past 2 years of the COVID pandemic. Gauteng municipalities have also given young people in our province opportunities up to a total of 30,192 youth work opportunities in Gauteng Province. This is extremely important. Again, we are going to work with municipalities on opening up opportunities for youth. It doesn't matter which party runs with municipality, we are going to work together in Gauteng Province. The biggest intervention about young people is in our education system. And I'll return to this intervention in our education system. So, honorable members, how do we move forward with this program of TSEPO? There are two things we are going to do. There are two things we are going to do. It is going up, honorable. It is going up, Honorable. Two things will be done. The first one is the consolidation of all programs done by different municipalities and different departments, including NPOs, everything that impacts on young people, from health to e-gov, to human settlements, to road construction. All the programs that impact on young people are being consolidated. So the Premier's office, this consolidation will result in the following. In preparation for this integration of all these initiatives, I want to announce to this House that this year, very soon, I will appoint a civil society advisory panel led by young people of Gauteng, a civil society advisory panel led by young people in Gauteng, to be the ones who work with government to make sure that government responds comprehensively to all areas of concerns of our youth. So that's the first thing we will do. The second thing we are doing, young people of Gauteng, we have started work to re-establish the Youth Directorate. In other words, the youth machinery in government will work with the advisory panel made up of a civil society organizations of young people to coordinate all these interventions we have made. So young people of Gauteng, we have heard you. We have heard you, young people of Gauteng. So public employment schemes are also helping us. Let me report that we have been able to, departments of the province have created EPWP jobs up to 93,314 jobs. Plus, municipalities in Gauteng have created 55,000 jobs. So if you combine 93,000 plus 53,000 EPWP jobs, we know EPWP are not permanent jobs, but they have been able to help a lot of people in Gauteng to put bread on the table. So it is absolutely important that we appreciate these interventions. And these things are happening in the midst of COVID-19, honorable members. We continue to focus on supporting small businesses with our procurement system. We continue to ensure that the Gauteng provincial government will support businesses owned by women, owned by young people, people with disability, and black businesses in general. So as we do that, honorable members, let me return to our greatest source of pride in Gauteng. Education is the greatest source of pride in Gauteng. It's the greatest source of pride for every family. It's the greatest source of pride in our province. And as Gauteng Province, we have done extremely well with regard to education in Gauteng. The performance of the education sector in our province, especially between 2014 and 2019, has been above 85%, year on year, above 85% for grade 12 results. In the best year, we got 89% and we were number one. But we continue to be amongst the top two in the country. We must acknowledge the work that is being done by our districts across Gauteng Province. Our districts are always in the top 10, either 4 of them or up to 10 of them in the top 10 in the country. We have also increased throughput rate from 79% to 84% with the last grade 12 results. So, honorable members, we are doing extremely well. We are continuing to focus on ECD. We are continuing to roll out ICT in education. We are continuing to do more investments in upgrading and building more schools in the province of Gauteng. I must say that children in our townships are also our greatest source of pride. And schools in our townships are also a greatest source of pride. There are schools in Gauteng. A few years ago, these schools were getting less than 50%. Today, they are counted amongst 100%, achieving 100%. And these schools are in the townships in Gauteng Province. So, honorable members, we have invested since 2009 2.2 billion rands on bursaries for the children of Gauteng to access higher education. And we have exceeded 30,000 students we have been able to fund to access higher education in Gauteng. Whether you like it or not, they exist. These students give us very, very good feedback. Many of them they do come back and say, we appreciate the support you gave us, but the biggest problem is access to the labor market for these learners. And that's very important intervention that we are making. So the GCRO continues to fund a lot of our students in Gauteng Province to ensure we achieve the objectives we have set ourselves. There's many things we can say on education. I want to move to an area that's extremely important for us. Honorable members, crime has now moved to the same top spot like unemployment as a matter of big concern in Gauteng. We have just conducted the latest survey, not just the stats from the police. The latest survey says crime levels are so high, it now competes with unemployment as the greatest issue of concern in Gauteng. We have reported, honorable members, in the last State of the Province address, the work we are doing to support the police in Gauteng. We have reported that we continue to procure additional vehicles to support the police. We have also reported we have increased the number of traffic officers in Gauteng Province. At least 264 of those have already been appointed. We are working with CPFs and patrollers across the province to tackle the issue of crime. I want to say to you that the police through Ukai Mulao have been working very, very hard to chase the criminals in Gauteng Province. Through Ukai Mulao. They are visible. The police are visible in various communities in Gauteng Province. We know the criminals are making life difficult. I want to assure the criminals that the South African Police Service, at least under the leadership of the Provincial Commissioner General Mawela, I know that they are getting more and more of these criminals behind bars. Under the leadership of General Mawela, more and more criminals are getting behind bars. We are confident that even amongst those under the leadership of General Mawela, the police service is being cleaned up. Corrupt elements amongst the police are getting disciplined and others are getting prosecuted, completely fired from the police service.
Honorable members, let me remind you of Rule 87. Please, I'm also worried that noise pollution might also affect our ears, but others will also get sore throat for making a lot of noise. Please, can we be spared and allow the Premier to continue? Thank you very much.
Honorable members, I must say that the crimes against women and children and particularly gender-based violence, is something we must confront head-on. We must also deal with that in our own families, in our own communities. Confront this crime, but we need a police service better resourced and better organized to deal with this. We also need to mobilize communities, and we can report to you that the gender-based violence brigades are doing wonderful work in our communities as volunteers who are working with government to help confront gender-based violence in Gauteng. We have 30 dedicated social workers who have been allocated. We have also allocated dedicated vehicles. We have expanded the Green Door program in Gauteng Province and the homes of safety to ensure that there's real visible action in our communities to empower victims of gender-based violence, including reorganizing our police stations to have places that are friendly to treat and work with those who are coming to report cases of gender-based violence. So there are 36 green doors across Gauteng Province who are addressing all these challenges together with our law enforcement agencies. As a result, we are now reaching 437,000 people across Gauteng who are beneficiaries of these interventions. This is only the beginning, because there are more women and there are more men and there are children in our own communities who are also victims of gender-based violence. I must add, gender-based violence is not only affecting women. Women are the primary victims of it. And the men are the perpetrators. But there are also men who are victims of gender-based violence. And that's why we need a combined effort. We need a combined effort. We need to hold hands. And we need men who can come to the fore and not just say not in our name, but practically work in all these programmatic interventions. So, honorable members, our patrollers are continuing to do work. Our CPF are continuing to do work. Our police are continuing to do work on Operation Ukaimulao. But the criminals are also continuing to do work. The criminals are getting sophisticated day in, day out. So we need a comprehensive response to deal with this. We are still committed to build the command center, which we have announced in 2019. We are still committed to build that. We are collaborating with the private sector on our anti-crime initiatives to make Gauteng much, much safer. It is important to also report that our programs of dealing with poverty and hunger have shown significant results in helping particularly those who are hungry in our province to have some food on the table. We have done so over the entire pre-pandemic period, as well as during the pandemic period in intervening to ensure people have access to food. This program is led by our Department of Social Development, working in partnership with the NPO sector. I want to share with you the story of one NPO called Umnoto for Empowerment, which is accredited for providing youth development training funded by social development in the informal settlement called Video in Meldesdrift in the West Rand. Florence Sibeko, the manager of this NPO, says the following about what they are doing. She says, only this year we have placed more than 300 beneficiaries in the tourism sector, following their completion of training offered to them here at that center. We offer life skills training, business skills, technical training, social change, and entrepreneurship development. Almost all the waiters and bartenders in the lodges and restaurants in Meldesdrift are trained by us. This is Umnot. And the entrepreneurs dealing with welding and plumbing around here in the area of the West Rand are also trained by us, including Kagiso, including Manseville, They are also trained. Listen to how the story continues. That over a period, Umnotho survived COVID, is training these people but it is also able to ensure that over 60% of them get jobs once they have completed training. So Umnotho is a primary example of how an NPO in the social sector can help us train, not only train, but ensure access to employment in various communities. So let's give a big round of applause to Umnotho. So, honorable members, our food security program has benefited over 2.8 million people only just during the period of COVID. Over 2.8 million people in 2020 and 2021 have benefited from our food security program. And we have worked with NGOs, faith-based organizations, businesses to ensure we expand this food security program. We have also provided school uniforms and dignity packs to over 39,000 young women across our province in this regard. So, honorable members, those who take it for granted that not having food on the table, not being able to feed your children can be a very heart-wrenching and embarrassing and heartbreaking thing. Those who take it for granted would not understand why this food security program is so key for millions of people in Gauteng who need government help and government intervention. So it's something we are going to expand and we will not abandon. Our Department of Agriculture has also been expanding its work on the development and support for small-scale food producers, including emerging farmers across Gauteng Province in many respects. A total of more than 701 smallholder farmers were supported in Gauteng Province, supported in various forms, working in partnership with the Canadian Chamber of Commerce in Gauteng Province. And there's more work that we are doing to reach out to communities where food security is a real problem in Gauteng Province. So, honorable members, it is absolutely important that the work we are doing has a full impact across, firstly, in mitigating the impact of COVID-19, but food security is also linked to the state of health and the state of well-being of people. If people don't have enough to eat, it becomes a health problem. So it is against that background that we say the healthcare sector in Gauteng carries one of the biggest burdens as the biggest healthcare system in Southern Africa. It is the largest healthcare system in Southern Africa. It carries a big burden with regard to treatment of people, over 30 million people across the country and the sub-Saharan Africa have access and use our public healthcare system. The backbone of our public healthcare system is the following. Honorable members, the clinic, if you want to know in Gauteng what really works well in the healthcare sector, our primary healthcare clinics are the backbone of our public healthcare system. Often we look at the hospitals where there are major problems, and there are a lot of hospitals where there are major problems. There are hospitals where there's outstanding work happening there. But our primary healthcare clinics are doing very well. 91% of them were just assessed for 2021 in 2021, and 334 of those have achieved ideal clinic status. They are not assessed by us, they are assessed by national. This is a comparison across 91% of our clinics in Gauteng are performing satisfactory service. 91% of them. And there are, as I said, there are problems at different levels. Our district hospitals, as well as our tertiary hospitals and central hospitals, with those 60% of them have achieved ideal status. You can see the gap there, because a lot of those ones are faced by the following two critical challenges. The first one is the state of infrastructure. Poor maintenance of infrastructure, especially in our hospitals, is a big problem. Secondly, the second problem is they are overloaded. They have huge human resource demands. The number of healthcare workers versus how many people those institutions are saved, the gap is huge. So human resource is a big issue in our public healthcare system. Infrastructure maintenance is a big issue in our healthcare system. It's a critical issue. And lastly, institutional instability, including leadership instability of the healthcare system at different levels. So we give an indication of the top 10 hospitals we identified, where we said work must be done and what has been done in this work. But we must tell you that one of the biggest problems, and I'm going to come and give a report on Charlotte Maxeke, one of the biggest problems is the cost and how long it takes to do work on infrastructure, including the infrastructure of our public healthcare system. I have spoken about cost of infrastructure before, and delivery on time as the big issue that we are going to be focusing on. So we have invested in some of the infrastructure that helped us to withstand COVID-19. We have reported about that. But we must report here that we are not satisfied with the progress that we are making. And I've said, since 2019, we have also appointed 33 out of 37 CEOs into the posts that exist to address the leadership issue in our healthcare system. And going back, our healthcare system also faces challenges. This is a national problem. The healthcare system is underfunded. It's a problem that everybody raises across the provinces. Whereas we can do everything we must with the resources we have, and they must be directed to the institutions, particularly to address human resource and infrastructure maintenance. But going forward, we are also going to do things differently. We are going to do things differently, honorable members. One of those things is that we want the Department of Health to be able to maintain infrastructure, the health infrastructure itself. We want the Department of Health to be able to do maintenance of its own infrastructure. It's not only the Department of Health. There are several departments that are doing projects that are saying they can deliver their projects at cost and on time. And those departments also themselves, we would like them to prove that they can deliver their projects on cost and on time. We are not shutting down DID. We are not shutting down DID. There are interventions that we are making in DID, including the problems. Current investigations have led to the suspension of a large number of officials. You know, one of the important things we are also doing with DID, we are the first province to establish a Department of Infrastructure Development. You know, Honorable Damin. Now the Western Cape has just announced that they are establishing a Department of Infrastructure Development. Now others want us to disband the Department of Infrastructure. No, we will not do so. We are going to reposition. It can't do everything for everybody in this world. Because if it tries to do everything for everybody, it will fail, but it can't be given every project. We want to focus them on projects, put them on terms, and if they don't deliver on those, we are also bringing in what we call the best implementing agents in our state system and in the private sector. And let me tell you, that's what we did at Charlotte Maxeke. We have brought in the DBSA. Firstly, we have given the Department of Health as the responsible department to take up responsibility, working with National Health Department. Secondly, the DBSA is now the implementing agent to finish up Charlotte Maxeke hospital refurbishment. They are doing that. We are confident they'll be able to refurbish it in the shortest space of time. They have made a commitment that they'll complete the refurbishment in 2023. But let me tell you, we are going for the rogues in the DID department. In our infrastructure space, the Special Investigation Unit has already identified people who must be disciplined, monies that must be recovered from service providers, and consequently those who must face jail. Those who must face jail. That's what we are doing with that department. So, honorable members, I want to reassure the people of our province that interventions on healthcare and interventions on overall rollout of infrastructure development in our province is underway. And this is something that will enable us to continue to respond to COVID the way we have done and do also even much, much better. So we have a detailed report to the people of our province on the various interventions we are making across the province. I want to give an update on human settlements. Since 2019, we have created 53,000 housing opportunities in Gauteng, since 2019. But before 2019, between 1994 and 2019, we have created 1.3 million housing opportunities in Gauteng Province. You won't see them because you are driving informal settlements. You won't see them. When we build, you create an informal settlement. When we build a big project here, you create an informal settlement. But we are also formalizing those informal settlements. We are formalizing them. Your job is to invade land and to create informal settlements. Our job is to create better infrastructure and better human settlements in Gauteng Province. In this report, we are giving an update of the projects that are on track. The mega human settlement projects that are on track. We are also updating that our land release program has already benefited 1,200 people. I know you don't know Elijah Bahai. You come from the West End, but you don't know Elijah Bahai. So we have gone there to give to young people who don't qualify, young professionals who don't qualify for the government subsidy, government housing. We have given them land and plans, 3 different plans to build beautiful houses for themselves in the West End and in Ekurhuleni. We have done that already in the West End, and even in the midst of COVID-19, we have been doing that. Elijah Bahai, you don't know Elijah Bahai. So, honorable members, will continue to speed up the implementation of our program of title deeds. And we still want to clear 44,000 title deeds and hand them over to their rightful owners in the next 2 years. 44,000, working with our municipalities. 44,000 people who have received houses need their title deeds. We will clear those. But you can't do title deeds, mayors will know that. You cannot do title deeds on land that is not, what is it called? Proclaimed. The land that is not proclaimed, where you have occupied the land illegally, that land, and even where we have housing there, we have to make sure there's proclamation of land. Yeah, we know that's your area of specialty. You occupy land illegally everywhere. So, honorable members, I would like to say that we have also released 28 properties, because we have a program on property release, identifying government property and land to hand it over to particularly township businesses and black businesses that want to invest in those properties and operate their businesses. So last year we acquired 28 properties for this purpose, and we are now speeding up the process of releasing these properties to those who want to use them in Gauteng Province. We have upgraded 181 informal settlements, and we are focusing on 6 hostels in Gauteng. Only 6 hostels will be the focus of the Gauteng provincial government. You agree, Honorable Dlamini? The Gauteng provincial government cannot be all over on the hostels. There are 6 hostels that are owned by the Gauteng provincial government. The upgrading of those hostels is currently underway. We are starting with bulk infrastructure. And I want to say municipalities must focus on the hostels that are owned by municipalities. There are many more hostels in our province that are owned by municipalities. So our municipalities must focus on upgrading them at the same time that we are focusing on upgrading those owned by us. I want to say to the mayors, it is absolutely important that we focus on electricity, sanitation, and water supply in our province, including the upgrading of roads, using the budgets that the municipalities are having, and also bringing in national government departments such as water and sanitation, and SOEs such as ESCOM in dealing with problems of electricity and water supply in our province. I want to recommit that this is the work we are going to do with our municipalities. So extensive work is being done on social cohesion, and social cohesion is an important area of our work. We have had social dialogues in Gauteng Province to foster social cohesion. We have also provided support to 2,984 artists and sports practitioners who are affected by COVID-19. 2,900 of them were supported by the provincial government during the most difficult time of COVID. And the national government's program also benefited a lot of Gauteng artists. I also want to say to you, honorable members, we have legends and very successful sportsmen and women in our province and artists who are here. Please join me in welcoming our legend, Don Laka, who has joined us here today. Don is there at the back. There's Amapiano. Amapiano is a genre that comes originally from Gauteng. There are the Amapiano young people who are here. Where are you, Amapiano? Who are here? A lot of them are based in Tshwane. They've driven this very important genre in its evolution in our province. But I want to say Bradon this year is celebrating 50 years since his entry into the music industry. 5 decades. We know the Sundowns team of women are the champions. The Sundowns team of women, they are the champions. They are the champions. We also have a group of young people in Gauteng who are the champions of chess, who have joined us today. 14 young people, they are school children who are the champions of chess. They are represented by those. Sports and the creative industries. Where is Humuso Munchani? You know, she is a star. She is our star. She is our star. We take off our hat for you. An outstanding star like you is somebody we must always respect. That's Khutatso Munchani. Khutatso Munchani. So, honorable members, we are continuing to invest in this area of sports and the creative industries, but we can tell you it was severely hit by the COVID pandemic. I know there are many aggrieved artists and sportsmen and women who feel we really, really need to open up. We need to open up as the situation of COVID is under control. They want to return to performances. They want to return to the stadia. We need to open up. And there are also those who feel they did not receive the support. We know there were many, many more who were not covered by us. But we say to those we could not cover, re-inailing matsoho metsing. It was not our intention to exclude you. We could only cover so many amongst you. Gauteng Province is a province that attracts the most international migrants and migrants from across the continent and the Republic, from across the provinces. In-migration is a big issue into our province. So we welcome the announcement by National Cabinet that firstly, because there's no country that will not have migrants, but we want migrants in South Africa who are here legally in our country, who are documented. Migrants, we know they are in this country, they are operating in these sectors. And we also welcome refugees in our country. But they should be documented, they are welcome. But the big problem we face is that the porous borders are a problem in our country. So national government has announced an intervention to strengthen border security and border control to also enforce our immigration laws. And I say, as the provincial government, this is a matter of great concern. We go everywhere in Gauteng. The question of illegal migrants is featuring everywhere. It is featuring everywhere in our province. The important question is that we are working, we have worked with organizations representing refugees, which are also representing migrants in Gauteng. We are going to continue to work with them. We want to work with them. We want to make sure that we work together and ensure they are all in our province properly, in our country, safely and legally. But we also want to ensure that our state provides security to the borders and security to its own citizens. And for that reason, we don't want citizens to take the law in their own hands. It is the job of government to do border security, but also safeguard citizens. It's the job of government and law enforcement agencies. We want to work with civil society organizations that are also concerned about this issue of migration, including illegal migrants. We want to work with them. I want to emphasize we want to work with them. But nobody should resort to violence. Nobody should take the law into their own hands, and the law enforcement officers must do their job. And people should not be attacked or killed because they are foreign nationals. We must work together to make sure that we address migration. Is a big problem all over the world today. So the law enforcement agencies must do their work. The state must do its work. Civil society partners must do their work, and we must work together to address this issue. So I want to say again that no state can allow people to come in and out of its territory without proving that they have documents. There's no state worth its salt that can allow the movement of goods and anything in and out of its territory. There is no state worth its salt that will do so, but also there's no state that can allow citizens just to take the law into their own hands and start moving door to door and saying, these people are illegal migrants. So let us work together with law enforcement, including with civil society organizations of migrants and civil society organizations in our townships to address this matter properly and effectively, so that Gauteng cannot afford to have killings and attacks of foreign nationals again. We can't afford it at all. So, honorable members, I want to come to an important part of the mandate of our administration and report back to you. The issue of integrity promotion and dealing with corruption is a matter that people of our province have been greatly concerned about, and this legislature has also been greatly concerned about. The Gauteng Provincial Government adopted an anti-corruption strategy and an integrity management framework in 2016. That framework has got core pillars. It focuses on prevention, it focuses on detection, it focuses on investigation, and it focuses on consequence management of the outcome of those investigations. I am glad to report to you now the numbers of what we have been able to do. Yeah, I'm glad to report to you the implementation of our anti-corruption and integrity management framework is led by the Gauteng Ethics and Advisory Council together with the Office of the Premier to ensure that there's strengthening of prevention, detection, as well as investigation and consequence management. But we are also working with other agencies, honorable members. Public Service Commission, the Public Protector, the Auditor General's Office, the Human Rights Commission also refers matters to us as well. And law enforcement agencies, we open cases. In this report, you will see how many criminal cases. Don't say how many. I don't arrest. I don't arrest. We open cases. We open criminal cases. We discipline. We have disciplined 138 officials in Gauteng. 138 of them have been disciplined. 42 criminal cases have been opened. And law enforcement, the criminal justice system, including the prosecution authorities and our courts, are busy following up. We are working with the Special Investigation Unit. The Special Investigation Unit has done a lot of investigations. We have seen those. We have taken action. Every report they have submitted, we have taken action to suspend officials, to discipline officials, and where they are done with that work, criminal cases needed to be opened, we have opened those criminal cases. We have implemented every recommendation from the Auditor General around investigations. We have implemented those in departments where the Auditor General has said you have a problem of supply chain. Let me report to you what we have done. I did that the last time. All supply chain officials are now being vetted. They are subjected to vetting. Senior management are also subjected to vetting in this province as part of detection and prevention. We are also, when the public protector submits a report in Gauteng, you can ask the Special Investigation Unit. You can ask the Public Service Commission. You can ask the Public Protector. You can ask the Auditor General. Every report they submit to us and say, take this action, we take that action. We implement consequence management in Gauteng Province. I am reporting to you today on the actions we have taken, because you will get the full detailed report, department by department, case by case, the course of consequence management. And that report is ready, honorable members. That report is ready, and in this State of the Province address, I want to assure the people of Gauteng, this provincial government takes action when there are issues identified by the various institutions. Of course, we can't send people to jail because there are other agencies that must do that job. The prosecution authority, the courts must preside over that. And our system of consequence management is to ensure that disciplinary action is taken, and where cases must be opened criminally, people must be criminally charged, we do so. So I am very glad that you will see this provincial administration is really taking action on issues of integrity. So, honorable members, you know that we have introduced the open tender system, which was undermined during COVID. There's no retreat on the open tender system. There's no retreat. Consequence management is action you take, disciplinary action, including charging people criminally. That's what you have heard about consequence management. You don't know what it means. You suspend officials, you discipline them, and you also you follow up with the SIU, assessed forfeiture unit, to retrieve the money that has been lost. That's what our report says, to recover and retrieve the money. So that's extremely important for you to know. Don't just say consequence management because you don't know what it means. So, honorable members, me and the Gauteng Ethics Advisory Panel will release that report after the State of the Province address. The report will say exactly what I'm telling you. The issues that are coming from different investigations, different recommendations, what action has been taken on those issues. So it's absolutely important, honorable members, honorable members, I have said to you before that we do vetting, and the lifestyle audits is something we were the first province to really talk about and ask the State Security Agency. Let me give you an update.
Members, can we have order?
An update. You want an update? Thank you. You do want an update. You want an update? Thank you. You don't want an update?
Honorable members, I'm sure you will have your time on Thursday to debate, please. Can we be spared?
Yeah, they've just taken 45 minutes of my time. So, honorable members, I have given continuous updates on vetting of senior officials, SCM, supply chain officials, and senior management. Now, the Provincial Executive Committee of the province, that's the MECs and I, have now gone through rigorous interviews with the State Security Agency. Listen, honorable members. Rigorous interviews, because you have been asking, where are the lifestyle audits? So I'm updating you. All MECs in our province and myself, because there's a framework of lifestyle audits approved by the president. You know, the president approved it last year. That framework, they are using that framework. The first province to use it on is Gauteng Province. So the State Security Agency is using that framework. We are the first province. So I'm saying to you, last year I reported they have So all MECs had submitted and filled the vetting forms, all the lifestyle audits and vetting forms. What has followed is they have now undergone, honorable members, interviews. Lifestyle audits and vetting interviews are a very important part of the life stage. So what are we waiting for now? What are we waiting for? We are waiting for them to, they've done the finalization of the interviews. We are waiting for them to complete the report and give it to me. So on our part, we have done two things: the forms, the filling of vetting forms, and the interviews conducted by state security agents to verify everything about every one of us. They've been able to do that. That is the update, honorable members. And we are waiting for the report. That's on the lifestyle audits. And it's not, I want that report tomorrow. It's not in my hands when they'll submit it. They must complete their work. I want that report as of yesterday. So they have completed. So honorable members, these MECs who are here have gone through those two processes. Rigorous interviews. So the people of Gauteng will know that our provincial government has also been paying attention to clean audits. Clean audits are an important aspect of our prevention, detection, as well as investigation and consequence management system of fighting corruption. We know, honorable members, that we have done very well as Gauteng Province in the pre-pandemic period. Between 2014 and 2019, we had the best audit outcomes in 5 years. 64% of all our auditees got clean audits. And I know in 2016, 2017 in particular, all departments in Gauteng got 100%. They got 100% unqualified audits. 100% unqualified audits. In the past 2 years, we had 1 year of regression, but this year I am glad to report that we have three new candidates that have joined the family of clean audits in the new financial year. The Department of GDAT, the Liquor Board, are new candidates that have joined our clean audits family. So let me say, honorable members, we are also paying attention to cleaning up departments that had very, very adverse reports. The Department of Human Settlements had very adverse reports. We are following up, progress is being made. We are dealing with the disclaimers. Any entity that has a disclaimer, making progress in each of those, because all of them must get out of the problem that their books cannot be relied upon. So, honorable members, it is important to say that we are paying attention to this issue of clean audits in Gauteng Province. I've already reported that investigations by the SIU, every one of those outcomes of those investigations, we have acted on them, and others that still require disciplinary processes, those are underway. And we are not going to retreat on that matter. It doesn't matter. We have also learned hard lessons from the PPE corruption, and we are strengthening prevention, detection, investigation elements of all departments in our province. So it is therefore critical that whatever is raised, honorable members, about no, there is no action, you will see the action that is being undertaken. And in this regard, we have taken that relevant and appropriate action, and we are following up on other departments. I did say the Liquor Board, the GDAT, and the Cradle of Humankind are new candidates in the clean audits. We welcome them. Let's give them a big round of applause. In the family of clean audits, the leading departments on clean audit in Gauteng have been the following, honorable members. The three leading departments on clean audits: the Office of the Premier, 9 consecutive clean audits. Gauteng Treasury, 9 consecutive clean audits. And the Department of Cooperative Governance is the next that has the highest number of clean audits. These are departments that are leading by example in Gauteng Province. So, honorable members, let me conclude by talking about our municipalities. I want to return to the issue that in Gauteng Province we have new leadership in local government. We welcome all the new councillors. I particularly want to welcome all the mayors who are here. Let's give them a big round of applause to our mayors, your worship. We welcome you. You are elected by our people. It doesn't matter how you were elected when you got into the houses, but you now have a responsibility to lead our people. Yes, you are elected by our people, and we are going to work with you in Gauteng to address all the challenges that we have referred to. We have been supporting local government in Gauteng, especially during COVID. We learned great lessons on how to work through the command councils and the district development command councils. We have worked together with local government very well. We have strengthened the IGR system during COVID, and important lessons have been learned. We are going to roll out the DDM system here in Gauteng. But the truth is, service delivery as we speak, and especially in infrastructure, has collapsed in many parts of Gauteng. That is the truth. That is the truth. The task we are going to face is not only the responsibility of municipalities to fix service delivery, fix infrastructure. We will work with the mayors. I repeat this. We are going to work with the mayors in the mode of emergency that we worked with during COVID-19. There are many areas in our province where municipalities can do better. And I want to announce every Thursday and Friday I will be in a municipality with the MEs. Every Thursday and Friday will now be service delivery Thursdays and Fridays. I will be in a municipality working with the leadership of that municipality and the councillors to deal with issues of service delivery. If the province is responsible, mayors, if it's housing issues, if national is responsible, if it's water and sanitation issues that need national, if it's electricity and we know needing some big part of it needing national, we will, if it's roads, we have a big responsibility on roads. Every Thursday and Friday, we will be in each municipality. We will not do municipalities at once. Every Thursday and Friday, we will be out there working with the mayors. And I wanted to say to you again, mayors, you have our full support, and we are not going to work along the lines of political parties. We are going to work as government, because the people of Gauteng want their elected government to work for them, and not to work for parties, and not to work for the purposes of what the coalition governments or the particular governing party wants to achieve. If that is irrelevant to service delivery, we have to find a path of breaking with that to go to the people together. And I also want to say, in 2017, we established a debt management committee together with municipalities. The new leadership of local government needs to know the debt management committee is the one that has been dealing with billing, resolving all billing disputes, clearing all rates and taxes that need to be paid. And on average, we are paying 2 billion rands to municipalities per annum in Gauteng. On average, 2 billion rands is paid by the Gauteng provincial government to different municipalities for rates and taxes in Gauteng. So where there are outstanding rates and taxes, we work with those municipalities to look at if the municipality cannot substantiate billing. And I must tell you, one of the first mayors to speak to me about this issue, Mayor Palazzi, was one of the first mayors to speak to me about this issue. I know municipalities attend, they do this work, they clear all the debt. So where there are outstanding amounts, I have said to departments, and I've said to Treasury, you have to settle those outstanding amounts. We can't wait for a department to pay a municipality because they are managing their own issues. If there's a dispute on the rates and taxes, that dispute must be subjected to a process because there are issues also around billing. There's no municipality that can pretend. But municipalities must be paid for rates and taxes because they need that money to service the residents in their own communities. That has to be done. We must work together in the systems we have put in place across our city region. So I want to conclude by saying that the big issue that worries us is payment of service providers on time. So there are departments. I've dealt with that issue of corruption. You were not listening because you were making noise. Non-payment of service providers. I want to report today that there are departments that are 100% compliance with paying service providers in 30 days. In the past year, the latest report, the following departments are, especially the third quarter report, as of the end of December 2021, the Office of the Premier, the Public Roads and Transport, Agriculture, Economic Development, Treasury, COCTA, Human Settlements, and e-government have been able to meet the 100% compliance with 30-day payments. Education, sports, arts, culture, and recreation, and community safety, they are between 95% and 99% in meeting their commitments. Education, sports, arts, and culture. Now, I want to report to this House. There are 3 departments. Firstly, it's 2 departments, but they are joined by the third now. So health is a big problem with the non-payment of service providers. I'll explain what we are going to do. DID is also a big problem with the non-payment of service providers. Social development has now joined them, MEC. So I have a team, myself and the MEC for Treasury, are one of the big things with health. It's really the big problem that the health has only complies 33% with the payment of service providers. So we have a team that is clearing these outstanding payments of service providers, team made up of Treasury and the Office of the Premier. And this team is also going to be meeting with every service provider who's owed by any of the department of Gauteng. Any service provider. I will be there myself. I will be there. I'm not going to delegate with every service provider, so we have a path to ensuring that there is settlement of all the outstanding payments that have not been made by our government. So I would like to conclude, honorable members, by going back. I want to conclude by going back to saying that we will rebuild our province brick by brick. It is difficult times that we are facing, but we will consciously and collectively confront all the challenges that we are facing. I want to reassure the people of our province that we are aware that some of the social and democratic gains made in the period 1994 and 2019 have been severely reversed in the last 2.5 years. That includes the erosion of quality of life amongst people. That includes the increasing levels of corruption, blatant, and we are glad that the state capture report is getting finalized and the last set is coming out. In this province, as I say to you, the report that the Gauteng Ethics Advisory Council is going to release with me will demonstrate to you in each case, in each area, what consequence management has been done or is being done. Corruption and the erosion of social living standards of our people are a big problem. So we want to build a province based on rule of law. We want to build a province where social and economic justice is underpinning that rule of law. So rule of law, we are a constitutional democracy based on rule of law, but the nature of our constitutional democracy is that it's also based on social and economic justice. You can't separate those. Rule of law and social and economic justice is what characterizes the nature of our constitution. Transformative constitutionalism is what characterizes the nature of our constitutional democracy. So don't separate the two. We wish to reassure the people of our province. We have now reordered our priorities. The number one priority is economy and jobs. Service delivery is a critical area of focus. Confronting corruption in all its manifestations, dealing with crime, and building a capable state, and going in every area in our province to fix the infrastructure and service delivery backlogs is what we are going to do. I reiterate that we can only move forward together by ensuring that no one is left behind, as our president says. I want to thank the people of Gauteng for the trust and responsibility bestowed on us in the past 8 years. Let me say that we are not perfect. I am not perfect. But one thing must be clear. We are honest and sincere and committed to serve the people of Gauteng with utmost integrity. To serve our people with utmost integrity. And we thank you very much for the opportunity to have served you and will continue to serve you in the next 2 years of the remainder of our term of office. God bless you abundantly.
Thank you, thank you. I wish to take this opportunity to wish our Premier a happy birthday in advance. Tomorrow is his birthday. While today, one of our own from the Gauteng legislature, Mr. Ralph Chilwane, was his birthday. Happy to you, sir. Now that we have received the address, Premier, we request that the address be forwarded to the table for placing on the order paper in terms of Rule 16. After I have adjourned the sitting, members are requested to please proceed to go outside the hall for a group photo, and they'll be ushered by the protocol team to show us where we're going to have a group photo. I will also request that guests remain seated until all members have left the chamber. Yeah. And let me also announce that our next sitting will be on Thursday, the 24th of February at 10 hours sharp at the Gauteng Provincial Legislature in our building. I now declare the sitting adjourned. Thank you very much. Ukuphi la abantu abasebenza e-Speaker's office?
Hey, hayi manje ngikhulumela i-tablet yani. Vale mic. Vale mic.
This thing is not working. The three of them. Bathat. It's fine. Sorry, Chantal, my row is coming up. Okay. Can everybody please remain seated? We're going to usher people out so that we don't have a stampede at the door. Please sit. We're just going to usher people out with the row. If you are in a hurry, you can use the back exit over there and turn left to the entrance. But if we can all just remain seated, everybody's going to